Hi, and welcome to View's Partner Interview Series. My name is Zhu Huang. I'm the Senior Marketing Manager here at View, looking after EMEA. In today's interview, I'll be talking to James Luis, who is Head of Programmatic at JCDecaux Netherlands, one of our media owners. And today we'll be covering what programmatic digital out-of-home looks like in the Netherlands at the moment, as well as some tools that the team over there have developed to really make and improve the experience for advertisers. So let's jump straight into it. Hi, James.
Hi, nice seeing you again, Sue.
Thanks for joining me today. So to start off, can you tell me a little bit about what has driven the rise in popularity of programmatic digital out of home in the Netherlands and how JCDecaux has adapted?
Yeah, sure. Well, I've been in programmatic digital out of home for quite a few years now. I think I might have even set up the first campaign ever to do anything. So we've got a slightly different perspective than most, I guess. But I think what Holland does differently, I notice now, after having worked with Decaux for a year and a half, than other markets, I could say, is we've got an open setup, and I've tried to continue that way of working when coming to Decaux. So the whole infrastructure in the Netherlands is actually catered to saying we're going to open up this space for programmatic, and anybody can trade on that as long as you're connected by a View. So that I noticed when I was in Germany how completely opposite that is to how they work. They need to know this campaign's coming in from this person, that much revenue's coming. We have the complete opposite setup. So we've got everything aligned in a way to maximize the amounts of revenue going through. The weird counter thing is I sometimes have no idea what tactics are behind them. So I'm just trying to more problem solve to make everything go smoothly than actually physically going to the clients. It's all set up in such a way that the whole Dutch market has adopted it years ago. So the benefit you have from a Decaux point of view is that we have so much brilliant assets on the best locations that it's almost like all you need to do is say, I would put one there. That's going to be a bombshell right there. And that's starting. I'm happy to say that I was under the assumption that's the way it would work, but we've been consistently hitting record after record. And we even broke this week is the new record on programmatic up to date. So it's I suppose we're an advanced market in that way. So the first steps in programmatic were probably within the Netherlands, and it's just kept on continuing that way. So even the traditional agencies who'd be the latest to come on board, they've been doing it for the last few years. So you don't have to explain or sell the idea of programmatic. But then also, if there's something cool and new, they tend to embrace it as well. So that's very nice to see.
Yeah, that's great. And you've touched on a few things there that we'll definitely come back to later in the interview, but really interesting to understand the different setups of different markets. You touched on Decaux there earlier as well. So just talking about your digital out-of-home inventory and how it sits across the Netherlands, which locations have proved most popular recently?
Well, what I've noticed is when there's an event, whether it's a concert or a football match or even like the birthday of the king, but something which has a specific time frame and sometimes a location attached, especially if the latter is the case. Even though the setup is always open, so technically a DSP would never call me to say, do you have any inventory available? Because they know we'll try and keep enough inventory available. They know that if it's so specific that they say, yeah, but actually it's a Harry Styles concert. I want the people coming out of the venue to see that sign. Then they will call ahead. And I've noticed that I've needed to find ways to make sure I can keep revenue or space in the asset available. So those things, football, concerts, and the locations around those events, they seem to have an even bigger amount of interest than the overall location, so to speak. And the weirdest thing, which I always find strange, like historically speaking, I I started off in a company that sold posters, and the hotter it got, the less money you made. And programmatic does the exact opposite. You know that if you're going to have a really sunny day, we're going to break a record, which is, I still find very funny. So depending on who your boss is, he'll come in with a sad face. And then if he walks into you and said, you haven't seen my records yet, have you? No. Did you have a good week? Yes, we had the best. Oh, great. Then the downside on paper was the upside of programmatic.
That's really
which is always nice to see.
Cool. So can you talk us through the types of tools that are useful for your clients?
Yeah, I suppose what I find interesting about programmatic is you sometimes get fresh customers, and with fresh I mean people who never actually dove into out of home, and if those chances arise, it's nice to let them benefit from the tools that Decaux has in general. So for instance, just to optimize your creatives, we've got some excellent tools where a heat map says where is your eye actually looking on a creative, or what positions does your eye follow to say, okay, that's nice. And you can really optimize the way somebody's actually using the out-of-home asset there, and feed that back to them actually within hours. So they send you over the creative, and if you're on if you started that relationship, they will obviously send you over the creatives even before and ask your opinion. And as opposed to saying, oh, I don't like this, I don't like it, the added value of those optics can be that it actually systematically says, look, you're overdoing things. You've got 5 points where people are looking at. Bear in mind, it's a digital out of home. People are going to run past, walk past, but 2 seconds is the time span you want to do it in. And those tools really tend to help. And also on the other side, where people have done campaigns, you can say, what is it you're doing with this campaign? Do you want to measure footfall, or do you want to be measuring, I don't know, brand lift, awareness, all those things you can feed back to people, which has really helped, especially on new business, and then keeping that new business, because then people have measured something and they know, okay, for the next one, we'll take what you say to heart and see if we can improve on that, which seems good.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that heat mapping tool is, completely in line with how creative is so important when it comes to programmatic digital out of home. So really great that that's a tool that, you are seeing advertisers starting to use. So back to inventory, can you tell us a little bit about what screens and locations are launching soon in the Netherlands?
Yes, actually we've quite recently, they're already on location, but we haven't got the audience data yet, because as always these things happen, you plan things years ahead, and then all of a sudden City Council says, oh yeah, go ahead, you can plan it there, and we don't actually have any data to support the object we just launched. But one of the busiest locations in Amsterdam is the Central Station. I think we've got plenty of campaign pictures where you actually see like a physical object of us, and you see this mass of people coming out of Central Station. What people usually don't realize is at the back of Central Station is that so there's the water, and you need to connect from that end of Amsterdam, which is the city centre, to the north side. You can take a ferry over, which we also sell actually as an advertising space. But the waiting area where those ferries dock and take off, we've placed 3 new objects which you can see from the same location, which I think will be brilliant, because all trains converge at this point. The ferries leave at this point, so it's one of the busiest locations. All the buses going to all the outskirts of Amsterdam, so that should be a really interesting object to do, and I'm hoping or looking forward to having the first campaign where the boat leaves to will be incorporated in whatever messages they're doing. So I'm really looking forward to that. Should be really interesting.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds like a really great location. I guess it's like a continuation of that commuter journey, because I know a lot of people who are commuters use that journey as well. So
yeah, I mean, you're going to be standing there waiting with your usually you're waiting with your bike, and there's like, okay, it's 5 minutes that way, okay, and that's I mean, we've got loads of brilliant busy locations, But occasionally I get this briefing where I think, yeah, you should limit yourself to locations with a longer dwell time. Well, these fit exactly into that thing. You know that on average, people have to wait 2-3 minutes because it's going to take a few minutes for the one to dock and the other one to go. So that's, yeah, it should be very interesting. Or I suppose similar to a tram location where you say, well, the dwell time is just slightly longer because the tram does actually need to get there before you can get on board.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. So what types of brands have you seen are interested in your inventory, and have there been any changes or trends in demand recently?
Well, because of the adoption of programmatic in the Dutch market being so high already, it's quite broad. I mean, we've literally had thousands, if not like 8,000 creatives, which is probably not 8,000 campaigns, but it is in the thousands of campaigns coming past our desk. In terms of what's new, I have noticed when I joined JCDecaux just under 2 years ago, there was basically 3 DSPs actively trading on our network. That's now almost hitting 20, and on a given day, there might be 12 to 13 DSPs trading, lots of them from abroad as well. So I see some quite large campaigns in terms of revenue coming from actually from international things, where I'm thinking, who am I communicating with out there? In bloody Spain. Okay, that's interesting. And those shifts, I think, are new. But it's not a particular how to say segment of the market where I say that's more popular than any other. I think what I do notice, but I suppose that's just from a marketing point of view, what I remember is the more iconic the picture, the better it works. So I'm pretty sure that where the standard Coca-Colas who just know how they do their stuff, but the same goes for brands that do shoes, etc. If you have something that you can catch in that way, that always works wonders in out of home, and as it does in programmatic as well. I haven't seen any specifics in that, but to get back to something I said earlier, there has to be this parallel with the weather gets better, the spend gets higher. So whether that is people at the DSPs knowing, okay, there's going to be more people outside now than any other moment, so that's the reason they flick that switch, but it makes a tremendous impact in the amount of revenue we go through in a day. It'll go from 10, 20,000 in a day, all the way almost up to 40,000 just because the weather's better. And I will literally see different campaigns flying in thinking, oh no, they're really actually actively going on the fact that it's the weather doing this. But not on a particular brand where I say it has to be this area, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Cool. Well, I mean, touching on about what we mentioned earlier, it's really great to hear about international campaigns and EMEA. And because I have this market overview, I do particularly notice that in the Netherlands, you're a really innovative market when it comes to programmatic digital out of home. So can you share with me like a successful client campaign story that you've worked on recently, which showcases the power of programmatic?
Let's see, what has been an interesting one where we recently did something. Let's see. There was a nice one with a financial product that passed my desk the other day. They'd been client with us on analog, but never actually made the step towards digital. And I think the insights we, together with the DSP, could provide the customer made this into a success. What they basically did is they have a financial product, and they were able to see, okay, this is what my target audience looks like. Let's see if we can find where these people move and target them all the way through their journey during the day. And they managed to get the most amazing results. They, I suppose, did 2 things really well, because it's quite easy to say, okay, this is where these people live, and target just those locations, but then to make sure you actually have that continuously going through the day, and then measuring that back to saying, okay, what is the aim of this campaign? The awareness was one of the things we were doing. How many people have seen this? And actually, anything they were measuring, they completely over-delivered in what they were doing. So that was actually really cool. And this is a international client. So their test with us was actually to see, okay, if we can make this happen here in the Netherlands, this is something we can do to, I think they're in a similar amount of markets we are. I think when I was tracking it, they mentioned having 16 countries they could export this product to. So, I mean, I think I can definitely say that was a tremendous success, where our knowledge of what we know about our network and how to optimize things, and the DSP having great tools at their disposal to say, this is how you optimally use everything. They did it across several other publishers as well, but the majority of the spend was on ours simply because we had the major cities. But it proved to be so easily exportable. So you really have the optimal use of Vue being international, Decaux being international, so that match was ideal. So they know they've built something that can scale. And that's also good that we have these products that other countries have as well. So if they've had this measurement system, you can say, no, you can take this research and you can also use this in, I think Germany and England, they're also active. So any countries they want to go to, they can really say, this is what we did in Holland. We're going to carry on the same tactic and use it in 2024 across the other markets, which is, it feels great to do something where you think, oh, actually, yeah, you can really copy paste this. And you can, when you're in a call with colleagues, say, guys, I've got this lined up, follow this example, it'll work.
That's really fantastic. And I think that really speaks to, that kind of test and learn approach, and the ability to have a campaign that is so easily scalable across markets. It's just a really, really great benefit of using programmatic digital out of home in that way.
Well, it really is. I mean, programmatic can be really complicated, but it doesn't have to be. The best ideas are really simple. You've got to keep it simple, but the whole things behind it can be incredible. You can really do some really cool things with that. So that's really nice in this instance.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that with me. And finally, before I let you go, it'd be great to get your predictions for the future of digital out of home in the next couple of years. And where does programmatic fit into that, in your opinion?
Well, my prediction, I had said to myself, somewhere in this year, our digital revenue is going to be 50-50. So 50% of our revenue will be coming out of programmatic digital out of home. But I've seen so much accelerations going on in the past weeks that I'm now hesitant if it's going to catch up on me and happen faster. But so I don't dare pinpoint the exact month that this will happen. But what I foresee is that once you get past that 50% point, I think it'll go even faster, because you're going to end up keeping more inventory available for programmatic, and that's again then going to catapult it even more. Because what I've, even in the first years that I did something in programmatic, I think that must be 2017 or something, January is historically low in programmatic, or no, historically low in out of home. And we had the best January ever. And I thought, well, that's logical. If they don't sell it, I can sell it. So there's more inventory available. And I think that 50% thing is, those two combines is going to do it. So it is already increasing the amount of people wanting to do programmatic. But once you can actually say, wait a second, 50% out of my revenue is going towards this, that means I'm going to keep that amount open, and I can actually go towards maybe 50-60%. And that'll have it'll have a, I don't know what the word is for that, but it'll have a incremental effect. It'll just be, faster and faster. So if I do hit 50 in this year, I'd say 2024 is going to be 70-30 in favor of programmatic. And I do see that Decaux has a leading position in that, simply not based on that we're so much ahead of the market, but that we have so many contacts on our network. So a DSP will call me to say, I'm not actually able to spend the total amount of volume I wanted to do. They can't do that with the competition, because it's going to be like 50-50. We're not even the biggest player in out of home in the Netherlands, but in programmatic digital out of home, we are, because all these locations we have, A, we didn't go into a city if it wasn't a big city, and B, we didn't digitalize an object unless it was the very best in our network. So that makes a hell of a lot of difference.
That's really interesting. Well, I guess we'll see how the rest of the year goes, but I think it looks like a bright future.
Yeah.
Of course, as always. But thank you so much for your time today. I think it's safe to say that the Netherlands is in a great position. Programmatic digital out of home is booming, and you've got lots of amazing tools to help those advertisers as well. So again, thank you so much for your time. We will be sharing this recording on the View blog and of course social channels. So to the audience here, please comment or ask any questions or give recommendations about any types of topics that you'd like us to cover in our next interview. But for now, thank you so much, James.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for your time.